Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, thank you for joining for another great edition of this week's EQ Video Tip. Before we get started, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. What's on tap for this week? This is an excellent article from Chris Bailey about a 2-minute burnout checkup. First, let's talk about what that means. We're going to go into different strategies to look and see what burnout is, and then are we experiencing it versus just the normal everyday stress, because there's so many things that happen in our lives, whether it's family, friends, and of course work, that contribute to our stress, but also could potentially contribute to burnout. We'll jump in to Chris's 2-minute checkup in a few minutes, but most importantly, make sure you take this test so you understand what burnout is and what's causing it. Tip number 1. What exactly is burnout? Well, there's some misconceptions as to what burnout is. Some people think it's just exhaustion, and feeling exhausted is one of the parts of burnout because we have no energy to do the good work we usually can do. But second, we feel cynical about things. We have a negative attitude towards projects, and we also experience maybe a sense of dissatisfaction from the projects, the people around us, whether it's our family, our friends, our coworkers. That's part of burnout. And third, it makes us feel ineffective, as though we're accomplishing significantly less than usual, and we can't muster up the fortitude we need to be productive. If you're experiencing these things, you might be experiencing burnout. We'll go through that test right now. Tip number 2. We're going to go through the test and actually understand the different dimensions that might be causing burnout. What you need to do right now is get a piece of paper and write down the 6 different items that we're going to share with you in a moment. You'll grade them from 0 to 10 in terms of how stressed out you are or how burned out you are in this part. The more burned out, the higher the number. So a 10 would be the ultimate one there. Again, take all 10 of them, or all 6 of them I should say, and you'll score them. You'll have a score somewhere between 0 and 60. The first one is workload. How sustainable is your amount of work that you're doing? And then, does it eclipse the actual capacity of work that you can do? The second one will be values. It may sound a little wishy-washy here, but the more our work aligns to the values that we believe in, the more meaningful we become engaged in them, and the more we are balanced and avoid that burnout. So workload, then values. The third one is reward. What's the level of reward we have when we're actually doing that work? So it's not just the financial piece of it, but that is part of it, but it's also the social rewards. Are you getting recognized for contributions? Are you connecting with other people? And of course, the financial rewards matter too. Are you getting the salary, the bonuses, the stock that you want? Insufficient rewards can make you also feel ineffective and of course burned out. Those are the first 3. We're going to come to the next 2 right after this. Tip number 3. Here are the next 3 items that we have to check. The first one being control. How much control and autonomy do we have in our work environment? And do we feel that we have more control or less? The more control we have, or we feel that we have, the less burnout we're probably going to feel within a day. Fairness. Do we feel like we're being treated fairly and equitably from our colleagues as well as from our managers and the people below us and our customers? Fairness is a huge ingredient that promotes engagement and keeps cynicism away. And then the last one is community. Do we have a community around us, that we have relationships that help us, friends at work, friends at home, family members? The weaker our relationships are in the workplace, the more likely it is that we're going to feel burned out. Grade these on a scale of 0 to 10 for each of the 6 we just gave you, and then we'll talk about what to do with it. So what's your score? If it's high, above 40 or 45, that means you're heading towards that burnout. If you're over 50, you're probably burning out right now. What do we do about that? Well, look at the different factors, all 6. Ones that are scoring probably above 6 or 7, there are ways to mitigate them, whether it's talking to a coworker or making sure you're working with your team or understanding how to alleviate or delegate some of your work. When you find these activities, also determine whether this is a one-off thing where it's something that, hey, I had a big project this week, but then it's going to be done, versus this is a constant theme that keeps recurring within my work environment. If you track these also on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis, it'll help you ensure that you go through different ebbs and cycles of your workday, but also ensure that you're not leading towards a burnout moment when a big project or a big deadline or extra work gets piled on, or maybe some coworkers are not treating you the way that you really want them to. Whatever it might be, make sure you take a moment to do this quiz every month so that you ensure you're not burning out and making yourself the best person you can be. That's a wrap for this week's EQ video tip. Again, burnout is a very serious item within the workplace. Make sure you're taking time to take this quiz, do the checkup, and make sure that if there are factors that are leading towards this, that you're working with your colleagues, your managers, or other people to help alleviate these problems and make you a more healthy person in the long run. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.